All right, just want to have a quick chat about why do you guys have to invest in technology? You know, so if you've been following or have been listening to one of my talk, and like I think a few months ago, that basically the role of technology is basically to bring anything from scarcity to abundance. If you just make it a very simple rule. Um, I have a background in engineering. I studied that here at the um, university downtown from Purdue, and I was studying in electrical and computer engineering. And I didn't realize that what is the role of technology, even though I was into, you know, actively doing it until probably like a few years ago that somebody quoted that. Um, I think it was Balaji Srinivasan. I think I met him on Twitter. That the role of technology is to bring scarcity to abundance. So at that point, I was like, "Whoa, this is it's a such a simple rule, right?" I mean, I was always interested in technology. Like it's like fun. It's like like iPhone or Google Pixel or like using Google or like like watching a Tesla growing, but I couldn't like express it into words. What is like beside that? It's like cool, it's fun, it's like fast in terms of like Tesla, or but that formula is just so mind blowing. Like from scarcity to abundance, and then at that point it's like just like everything just makes sense. Like um why do I have to put my money into it, right? Because if you if the purpose of technology is just to make everything abundance, right? Like Google make information abundance for everybody on the planet, right? Like Netflix make entertainment like a Hollywood kind of um, entertainment abundance for everyone who has like Wi-Fi or internet connection, right? Tesla is gonna make probably like electric vehicle also abundance. If that is the role, like who wants to live in a scarcity? I mean, I was writing a blog about this like about I don't know 7 8 years ago. It was you can read it over there, but basically saying there are some, of course there's some community that like trying to resist the technology. Like if you look at the history, like the Luddites, I think the European, I think during the industrial revolution, the Luddites, they were like against the technology, right? Because I think these are the people who are like this franchise, right? Because that's like their livelihood, and then suddenly they are like replaced by the machines. So I understand, perfectly understand. Uh, I would probably be totally be in the same position too with them. I'll be like angry, if somebody's work is like just like somebody's like identity, or somebody uh, also it's not just identity, but it's their livelihood, is the way they have to like to become the bread butter for their family, right? So if that's like being attacked by like technology, of course they're gonna like revolt or do something like very negative towards that. Um, but once people understand that the simple role of technology is just to make everyone like basically have an easier life, right? Because when everything in abundance, because when you think of what does abundance mean? And abundance means becomes really cheap, right? So everybody can afford it, right? Like information after when Google, boom, it's kind of free. Literally, it's free. You can like do any kind of research on Google. That's kind of free. Netflix, you have to pay like $10 a month, but the movie is just like it's just I'm getting so bored right now just watching movies, right? Even like YouTube, right? So um, I can think of like the Amish people, for example, right? They're like even the Amish people, I don't think they understand. I don't know. I just found out that these people, they just like what they're doing already, right? They're used to that kind of like hard work, and they kind of like internalize it. It's part of their identity. So even though there's something like easier things, because of the technology coming in, right? Like the Amish people, like they use horses. They don't use probably cars, right? All the modern stuff. They don't probably. I'm not sure if they use electricity, right? So because it's their part of their like identity, is part of their way of doing things, and it's a habit. It's like they're doing so. I understand that. I mean, people also, yeah, it's hard to break from our habit, right? um yeah, but so I understand that kind of people, like they still love the way things are. But if people just become more open-minded, I don't understand why people like resist technology. If like they're trying to understand it, like because it's gonna make their life easier, so they can do something else that are less taxing. So for example, if the Amish people would just embrace like machinery or technology, right? They could use cars. They could, so they can. At the end of the day, what I think the role of technology, after making everything abundance, at the end of the day, I think it's gonna give us time to do the things that really like human like good at, or like, because things, technology, it makes things faster, right? It makes things like cheaper. It makes things um, like more powerful, right? So if you think about it, at the end of the day, it's gonna give you more time, right? More time for you uh, to do the things that you really want to do, right? Because if everything gets faster, right? Like through software, you can, let's say, through Google or whatever, like you can do research faster. Then you have like spare time to do something else, right? So and then you can really think about, do I really want to do this like the whole time every day? So people probably can change. They become like, I don't know, they can like have a different experience. So when I think about it, I think at the end of the day, when everything become abundance, we are gonna be like I feel like we are gonna go back to our childhood, precisely. When, remember our childhood, when we don't have any like responsibility, we don't have any like fear of what's gonna happen if we do this. We just do it. We don't think like kind of like ahead, like, oh, I have to like, because once we grow adult, then we have to think, okay, I have to make money. I have to like, and once you have a family, especially, why you have to like become the bread and butter. You have to work. You have to feed your family. You have to like, you have to do this. So you have so many responsibilities, right? So, um, but I think once everything is like abundance because of the technology, right, become right easier. The job of the parents become easier. For example, like, people are going to become more and more independent minded, right? I think, hopefully, and there are going to be more like I would say um, self. They can self-express themselves like fully, instead of like working with other people. For example, working like just salary after salary, month after month after month, right? The reason why people work, even though they don't like what they're doing, right? Because of the salary, right? Because they have to like pay the bills and everything. But when everything becomes like abundance, right, then that person can like sort of speak like, do the things that he like them or she like, right? And everything becomes like more playful, like kind of like childhood. That's what I meant. Like, and it feels like you don't have like a responsibility. Of course, you kind of still have in a way, at the back of your mind, but you become more like a child. Like you just, because you're not worried about paying the next bill, right? Because everything becomes cheap. Like electricity becomes cheap, the house markets become cheap, even the housing, to buy a house is cheap, to buy a car is cheap. Everything becomes abundance, which means cheap, right? So you have a lot of like um, war chests, kind of like a rich people. When you think about all of those like billionaires, they call it, they have a war chest. So they can really do something that are really meaningful for them, right? Not just for the sake of following, like working with the company like 8 hours a day and grinding it and all that stuff, right? So yeah, so so going back to that, so um, I encourage you to, if you have spare money, because this is what I've been doing for the past, I think 7 8 years. I've been trying to do it intentionally. I was like investing in a stock market, probably like 15, but I didn't know what investing, like what is that. It's just I was like thinking, oh, I need to get return, right? Rather than put it in a bank, I need to like diversify. But I don't really understand what it means to invest until probably like 7 8 years ago, until I understand this concept. Because when you actually know the role of the technology is just to make everything abundance, you are actually helping the humanity, right? You're helping the people who are like kind of enslaved by scarcity, right? To help them to also fully realize their potential. So you're having humanity at the same time, you're making a lot of money. Because if you, I don't know if you notice, the stock market, especially now during the COVID-19, the tech companies has been like going like crazy, right? Um, Even before the COVID-19 has been already like growing, like probably 2 times, 3 times than the standard company, like S&P 500 is growing. That's the like top 500 companies in the US is growing about like 10%. But if you put your money at like NASDAQ, which is a compilation of just technology companies, right? Then you can grow like, I think almost like double, like 20% a year. So and in this COVID, right? Uh, People are using Zoom. People are using more like you know all those cloud services for companies, or even like for the consumer side, they're using more. People are using more Pinterest, more like WhatsApp, more like Facebook. So technology actually is an enabler during especially during the crisis, right? Um, so the money will flow there because people are using it, right? Um, so you are actually making money, and at the same time you're helping people because the role of technology is like abundant. So you're like double winning. It's winning. It's a win-win for everybody, and you can take a look at the technology is like growing the pie together, instead of the traditional mindset is win or lose, or zero sum game. If I win, then you lose, or if they win, I will lose. This is technology is basically growing the pie together, right? Because with technology, you're making everything abundance. That means everybody's gonna get their share, right? Because everything becomes cheap. It's not just for you, right? Because it's not like winning I don't know, winning like a football match or a soccer match. If I win, then the other team is losing, right? This is about growing the pie together, right? And technology is just make everything easier, making everything is like faster. So when you think about it, of course, the money will flow there, because who doesn't want to get easier access? Who doesn't want to get faster access, right? Who doesn't want to get a cheaper access? Who doesn't want to get more I don't know, powerful, like if it's like probably taking a drug, a powerful like medicine to make him like strong, right? Everybody wants that, right? So when you think about it, like it's kind of no brainer for me to invest in technology. So I'm trying to educate this so many more and more people would know, so they wouldn't be like apprehensive toward this technology, And I know many of the people right now is like giving like a backlash towards technology, right? These days, that technology is bad. Facebook is like doing censoring or doing like, I don't know, like even, yeah. So there's many of negative criticism, but the way I think about it, like you know, it's kind of, it's not exactly the same, but technology is like a knife, right? You can use it to for useful thing, like to cut like a beef, to cook, and you can also use it to kill somebody or kill yourself, right? So technology is also like that. If you abuse the technology, because technology is like a tool, if you abuse them, if you kind of do not know like when to put down your technology to take a break, let's say like you're playing video games or using a WhatsApp or using Facebook, or you're using, I don't know, like on shopping every day, and like then people would get addicted too, right? So yeah, it's a double-edged sword, but the way to do it is not to bash technology, right? Because it's on the other side of the coin, many people are benefiting from this technology, right? It's just there's this small number of people, I think, that are think they're like a victim of technology because they do not know how to handle it, and they're like probably complaining a lot, and then they're like making a lot of noise, and that's the one that we hear the most, like the complaint. But we don't hear the people who are benefiting from this technology, right? And then I'm also concerned about this growing, like but especially I don't know about the rest of the world, but in the US there's the young ones, like the, I don't know, 20 or 30 years old, they're like they want to become more like a socialist country for the US. Look, um, um, people people love convenience, right? People love their life to be easy, right? Their life to be like comfortable. And the way to do it is through technology, right? Like iPhone, Google, Tesla, everything, or air conditioner, everything that you have. Like look at your, in my house right now, the lights, the air conditioner, the heater during winter, um, this iPhone thing, AirPods, right? These are all to make life useful, right? And this, we need to build this. Company has to build this. So a socialist country cannot do that, because the socialist country, I think their belief is, I never lived in a socialist country, but I have a friend who is from Venezuela, but and basically the belief, I think, is make everyone equal. And then this is also ties with many people also like trying to say a bad thing about billionaires. Look, I mean, don't try not to like get so much tied up with, you know, with this unequal thing. What's the most important thing is you get what you need. You know, if somebody is like so much richer, so much wealthier than us, it doesn't matter. Even, right? I mean, if my need is met, if I'm happy what I have, I don't really. Why should I care if Jeff Bezos has 10 billion or 100 billion? Why? I mean, it's his kind of, is his fortune, if it's his like skill, because he's taking a lot of risk by building like Amazon, right? And he gets, so he deserves it. And then besides that, he's not like, it's not just for himself. He's Amazon. Many people benefited from Amazon. I've benefited from Amazon, right? I can just click, open my smartphone, click, buy, and then after 1 or 2 days, it will receive in my doorstep. Who doesn't want that, right? Right? So I don't understand these young people like trying to bash like the capitalists, like all of the things that we uh, benefit now in the U.S. especially. It's because we are a capitalist country. I came to this like country. I was from Singapore before that, and then I was born in Indonesia. The reason why I want to come to the U.S. because I'm attracted to this kind of like idea of like it seems that the American people can do like whatever they want. You know, if they want to be like want to build something, they can do it. If you want, So I'm attracted to this, like this, the spirit of the American like idealism. That's why I came to this US. And the fact that I've been here for 20 years, and um, everything is kind of affordable for me. You know, I can afford to buy a car, I can afford to buy a house, although I'm still like in a mortgage and everything. But um, this is the reason I can afford it, because people build it, people make companies. You know, people in Venezuela, the, according to my friend, they have to like line up to buy like just like everyday stuff, like groceries. They have to line up like for hours. Their salary, I think for 1 month salary, they can only buy like a 12 dozen of eggs, you know, because the government just like forbid people. They cannot make companies, and they want to make, the government just want to make everybody equal, like, so you don't have any opportunity to grow. Just think about it. Everybody, look, every human being has a different skill set, has a different talent, has a different interest, right? If you just look at these three, right? Different interests, talent, skill set, right? And and you want to be socialist, that means everybody has to be equal. You know, if you have an idea, I want to do this, you cannot, you know, because you're afraid that you're gonna become richer than anybody else. What what the hell is that, right? So it doesn't make sense. Like, why? Like, I mean, it's his talent, is his skill set, is his idea. So let him be, or let her be like rich, or like grow, or like making contribute, building companies, and so he can making everything abundance, or things abundance, like Google making information abundance. Why do you want to stop that from happening? You cannot do that if you're a socialist country, because you want to make everybody equal, right? If you want to do this, you cannot do this. If you want to do this, you cannot do this. Then everybody's going to be poorly equal, you know. That's the problem. Over here in the US, it's like, okay, there's somebody who's really rich, like Jeff Bezos, I don't know, like 100 billions, and somebody who's really poor, right? But those are like the extreme, right? The really, really poor, even the really poor one, probably they're still like, they can still eat, they can, you know. But like the average, many of the people, they're like well-to-do. Their net worth probably like around, I don't know, 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, right? Rather than you're living in a socialist country, everybody's net worth is like $1,000, right? Or $500. Everybody is like really poor. I mean, think about it. It's like crazy. I mean, it's just anyway. So think about it again. I want to encourage, if you're still young, like 20, if you have spare money, invest it in the technology companies, and you can start with what you use, right? Because when you want to invest in a company, actually you need to do a research, right? You need to know their product and services, whether it's good or not. Many of the technology companies also, especially when they're in the early stage, normally they're not gonna make it, right? So like Apple, before it was almost gone bankrupt, right? Almost like 20, 30 years ago, something like that. Now it's already successful. So if you want to start investing, you want to cherry pick, like pick the individual companies instead of go into a like NASDAQ. NASDAQ is basically a compilation, I think 100 technology companies, or like, I'm not sure, is it 100 or 200. But if you want to become more brave, more risky, if you're still young, then I would encourage you to take more risks, because it's worth it, right? The younger you are, then you have to be risky, right, in taking chances, because you still have a lot of time to recover. Even though if you fail, for example, which is sucks, then you can recover quickly, and you have time to recover because you're still young, right? I'm not young anymore, but I still take a risk. So I suggest, because if you want to do research, it's like a full-time job. So if you still have a day job, then I would suggest you just start with the company that you use their product and services. Like probably in the US, if you're living in the US, you're using iPhone. Then if you like iPhone, then start investing in Apple stock, right? Because when you use your product, you indirectly, you are already doing research, right? your day to day, you know what you like and what you don't like about the companies, right? So, okay, I think it's been a long talk, and I'm kind of tired. Peace.